Hey there, you just clicked on First Down Punts. Nice move. This is a podcast about football and how it relates to fantasy football. Hope you like what you hear. We're going to get this thing started. Let's get crazy. And welcome in to another episode of First Down Punts. I'm your host, Coach Chris. We're going to get into the top 70 wide receivers today, ranked by tiers. So let's get this thing started. Tier 1 and Tier 1.5 is how we're going to kick this off. Jamar Chase is in a tier by himself. I think we all know that right now. Based off the triple crown he had last year and going into this season, expected to be the number one wide receiver. He kind of had a possible career year last year, but Jamar Chase's ceiling is unlimited. Him and a couple other guys that have just an unlimited ceiling. You think they have a career year, and then the next year they do even better. Is Jamar Chase going to hit 2,000? I don't know. Is he going to get 1,700? Possibly again. I'm looking at like 14, 1,500, probably 1,500 and 13, 14, 15 touchdowns. But at the end of the day, he's my number one wide receiver on the board. Got him here in Tier 1 by himself. We move on to Tier 1.5, as you can see here. And these are the guys that I think are at the same level of talent as Jamar Chase. But Chase is just in a situation it's not comparable to anybody else. His team is going to have to score 40, especially since he trades Trey Hendrickson, which he is now a possible trade candidate, which I've thought he has been all along after they paid Higgins. And Chase this year, it's hard for them to pay everybody when Burrow's already got his contract. So moving in Tier 1.5, though, number 2, I got CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb was number 1 on a lot of people's boards last year and definitely in the top 3 on most people's boards. With what Dak – the Cowboys are very similar to the Bengals, especially if they trade Micah Parsons. Coincidentally, they both got defensive ends that want a new contract and they're not willing to pay them, at least to this point. And the Cowboys' run game is going to be suspect. Jaden Blue got banged up yesterday in the preseason game, which is who I feel like is going to be the most valuable running back for them. If you watched our running back rankings video, I'll put a link here. You can see that. But at the end of the day, CeeDee Lamb, number 2, I'm expecting him to have 150 targets, even with Pickens coming in. I think that's only going to help CeeDee Lamb. So, number 3, this guy's moved up from number 5 since our last rankings. That's Nico Collins. I'm big on Nico Collins this year, man. I think Houston's going to have a really good season. I think Nico Collins is going to be a huge part of that. And I'm looking for 1,400 yards from him. I'm looking for 12 touchdowns from him. I'm looking for 90-plus catches from him. And that's why he's here at number 3. That's what I'm expecting out of Nico Collins this year. This dude is a big monster, and C.J. Stroud loves throwing him the ball. Number 4, Amon-Ra St. Brown, my Lions' favorite guy. At the end of the day, he was my number 1 receiver last year going into fantasy season. That's how I took him. I took him with my 10th pick overall, and he ended up being the number 2 receiver, so I don't feel like I lost out on that. He's down a little bit this year, changing OC, offensive lineman, going to put a little more pressure on Goff. He's dropped a couple slots, and with the offseason knee scope, there's just all types of things going around right now with the Lions. I still expect the Lions to be a good team, still expect them to win the division. But with the growth of J-Mo and that run game, it's probably going to take 10 catches off of Amon-Ra's total. He'll probably still have 95 to 105 catches, 12 to 1,300 yards, 12 touchdowns, 10, 12 touchdowns. I just feel like the other pieces around him and everything else going around him brings him down just a hair from where I had him last year. And number 5 here, running out Tier 1.5, is Jay Jettis, Justin Jefferson. I love Justin Jefferson. Loved him since he was at LSU. I'm probably one of his biggest fans that ain't a Vikings fan. I think the guy's fucking incredible and is the best or the second best wide receiver in the NFL right now. Now, he's dealing with a hamstring injury and a new quarterback. That's why he's down here at 5. I still think he's in this second tier right here with these guys, or Tier 1.5, like I said. He's just the 5th guy on the list simply for all the things going on with him. Him and Amon-Ra were both ranked a little ahead of Nico Collins before now. Now Nico's jumped them simply for the fact of everything else going on around them. It has me with a little bit of concern, whereas Nico Collins, his situation is just getting better, man. That's just all there is to it. So we move on into Tier 2. Tier 2, the young guys and a vet. Tier 2, number 6, Brian Thomas Jr. Brian Thomas Jr. probably will end up in that next tier, in that Tier 1 next year. I just couldn't put him there, man. And I had Brian Thomas last year. I think the kid's incredible. I think with the addition of Travis Hunter and the fact that most of Thomas's success last year came with Mac Jones at quarterback. So when Trevor Lawrence was the quarterback, granted it was earlier in the season when this stat really applied, he was only getting 4 catches a game. Or I'm sorry, 4 targets a game, I think it was. I'd have to go back and look. I think it's 4 targets a game. I expect that to grow. I expect Trevor Lawrence to throw the ball more. And Christian Kirk was healthy earlier in the season last year. Other guys were still there. Evan Ingram was still healthy at the beginning of the year. So he had other options to go to. And then Lawrence gets banged up. Everybody else gets banged up. Brian Thomas Jr. is the main target. Well, now that's the case again. Travis Hunter is going to be playing a part-time role to begin the season with him trying to play both ways. And Parker Washington is not a guy I'm worried about taking away from Brian Thomas Jr. Trevor Lawrence will be throwing him the ball, and he should be ranked very high in your rankings, and you should be willing to take him in the second round, no problem. Number 7, Drake London. This guy had a little breakout last year. What I'm more excited about is what happened those last 3 games when Michael Penix was the quarterback, and he just targeted the hell out of London. If that happens all season, London's going to probably be the number 1 wide receiver. You get him as the 7th wide receiver here in my rankings. If it doesn't and it's somewhere similar, he's still going to be a top 10 wide receiver. You're going to be happy you got him. I expect big things from Drake London this year, man. And he's another one of those guys, kind of like Nico, that I'm expecting to take that next step. That step to let's be great. Let's be a top 5 wide receiver. I'm excited about the first 8 guys here, really first 7. A.J. Brown is that guy. I'm giving respect to A.J. Brown because A.J. Brown's a beast. Here at number 8, I got A.J. Brown. Simply because A.J. Brown is a beast, man. And I believe the Philly will have to throw the ball more this year. I believe defense is going to stack those boxes against Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley, kind of similar to what the Chiefs did in the Super Bowl, to where it's more about we got to pass the ball a little bit to make the offense go. And if that's the case, you're going to see Jalen Hurts back up there at 35, 36, 3,800 yards. You're going to see A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith with much more success in the pass game. That's what I'm expecting this year. If I'm wrong, but right now that's how I feel like what's going to happen. Saquon's still going to get his. Jalen Hurts still going to get his. I just don't think it's going to be at a 2,700-yard pace this year. I think 600 to 800 of those yards could be through the air instead of the on the ground. And that's what I'm looking for. This is why I still have A.J. Brown up this high. He's still one of the best receivers in football, and I expect that to show in fantasy. So on a tier 3, these are the guys that I'm expecting to be really, really damn good. Not the great receiver that I believe they can be at times, but still a guy you're going to be happy as hell to have as a late number 1 or number 2 receiver. And that's where this group comes into. 9, I got Malik Neighbors, a young stud. He's dealing with like 3 different injuries. Now, I seen him at the preseason game the other night. He's jumping around. He looks good moving as far as that goes. He didn't play in the game. He was just jumping around on the sideline type thing, but celebrating with one of his teammates when they did something. But at the end of the day, I'm happy to see that he's even moving that well. But I had to drop him down a little bit just for the simple fact of if you are dealing with 2, 3, 4, 5 injuries, which I think it's 3 right now, a toe and 2 other things. But Malik Neighbors is still a special talent. They don't have a lot of other options to throw the ball to. You could be confident taking Malik Neighbors here as the 9th best receiver and not feel like you overreached and then he ends up being banged up or something. But if he's healthy, it doesn't matter who's playing quarterback. We saw that last year. Malik Neighbors is a damn good player. He's going to be in contention for that tier 1 next year as well. Number 10 here, Garrett Wilson. I know everybody's kind of down on the Jets offense. Oh, Justin Fields can't pass. I still believe the Jets are going to do good this year. I still believe they're off that play-action game with those 2 running backs with Breece Hall and Braylon Allen, that new improved offensive line they got with the young kid from last year included. The Jets are going to have a good offense, guys. Now, maybe it's not the sexy offense that we want where it's dropping bombs all day and running wild and all that other stuff, but it's going to be an efficient offense in my mind. You seen it the other day. They tried to drop back and tried to run that small defensive line with the Giants against the Jets. They ran for 12 yards right down their throat, man. And if teams want to try to load up on that run game, that's where it's going to help Garrett Wilson. And that's how we're going to establish it. You see with the Lions, it's not coincident. I expect kind of a similar style of attack from the New York Jets this year, which is run to establish the pass. They got two really good running backs. Even the third one, Isaiah Davis, is decent. Donovan Edwards is the fourth one. Listen, the Jets are going to have a good run game. I'm excited as hell about those running backs. I think it's going to be a split time with Brees and Braylon, with Brees probably getting like 60 and Braylon Allen getting 40. But at the end of the day, that's going to just set Garrett Wilson up for success. And the Jets are looking for another pass option. They got Josh Reynolds, Ricky Arian Smith, a couple other guys. Lazard, I believe, is going to start the season on IR. But Garrett Wilson's still the number one there. You seen what he did before Devontae Adams got there last year. I'm expecting more of the same this year. Number 11 here, T. Higgins, my guy. T. Higgins is a number one wide receiver, guys. If T. Higgins didn't have Jamar Chase on his team, which he didn't for a year, T. Higgins balls out. With Jamar Chase, it makes T. Higgins' life so easy. Because everybody's looking at Jamar over there, and T is running one-on-ones. If that's the case all season and he could stay healthy, Mr. Higgins, please, because I drafted you last year, couldn't even start the season healthy. Higgins would be higher if I knew he could be healthy all season. Now, part of that last year, I think he might have been trying to protect himself. He was on the franchise tag. He wanted to get that long-term deal. So it's possible he just sat out some time as a precaution, even if it wasn't that serious. But I got full confidence in T. Higgins' ability. And I'm not counting on injuries here. You knock him down just because of the fact of if you have a history, okay. But I'm not expecting you to be injured. It's more about I know the risk that comes with you. And right here, T. Higgins at number 11, I think you're going to be real happy. Number 12, DK Metcalf, another monster in that A.J. Brown mold, Nico Collins mold. A lot of people are down on DK. A lot of people have him at 24. I've seen him at 31, 32 on the wide receiver list. You guys are out of your fucking mind. That's just all there is to it. DK Metcalf is a monster, man. And we know one thing about Aaron Rodgers. He loves to over-target his number one wide receiver. Might not be team success, but it will be fantasy success for DK Metcalf this year. Number 13, Puka Nacua for the Rams. Puka was at 11. I actually dropped it down a couple spots simply for the fact that Matt Stafford's back. What's going on with it? He's back to practicing, but he didn't travel with Cleveland today to the preseason game. Why is that? Get more treatment? What's going on with it? Is he in that hyperbolic chamber again? I just have a lot of concerns with Stafford's back. He's got a history of back issues even when he was in Detroit. If Stafford goes down, I expect about 70 to 75% of the production from the rest of the offense. I am not expecting Jimmy G to come in and be Matt Stafford and what I expect from the Rams this year. Matt Stafford's healthy. Puka Nacua is up a couple spots, even with Devontae Adams being there, because Devontae Adams was up a couple spots. I expect Matt Stafford to go off if he can stay healthy all season. I'm expecting 4,500 yards from Matt Stafford. I'm expecting 35 touchdowns from Matt Stafford, and I'm expecting Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams to have that. But you got to play the risk game when it comes to a quarterback injury, because that affects the whole offense. It's not like a left guard or something. It's not a third receiver getting hurt. It's the starting quarterback getting hurt. If that's the case and he can't start the season or he goes down during the middle of the season, like I said, my production expectations drops from 100% to 70 to 75%. I don't expect Jimmy G to do what Stafford does. Don't expect Stetson Bennett to do what Stafford does. Stafford is a Hall of Fame quarterback. Everybody hated on him when he was in Detroit, and he went to the Rams, won a Super Bowl. Listen, I knew Stafford could win a Super Bowl. I just thought it was going to be in Detroit. Unfortunately, it wasn't. That's all right. We're on our way now. Yes, we got kicked out last year, but all the same, I'm big on what they could do in Detroit, but I'm really big on what the Rams can do if Stafford's healthy this year. If that's the case, that's why I can't drop Puka and Adams down too far. I still want to get pieces of them, but I also can't pay too much to get them if the chance of Stafford being gone for 4 games, 6 games this season is part of that equation. So Puka rounds out tier 3. Don't think you're going to be sad if you get him at 13 as the 13th best wide receiver. And we move into tier 4 here. Tier 4, Ladd McConkey. Now, I had him at 17 before, I believe it was, 16. Moved him up a couple spots. Mainly because, look, with Keenan Allen there, that's going to draw attention away from Ladd McConkey, which is going to help McConkey. I still don't think McConkey's going to end up with 115 catches or nothing like that. I think McConkey's going to end up with about 90 catches for 1,150, 1,200 yards. But at the end of the day, the Chargers want to be a run game. Now, they brought Keenan Allen, who is still damn good. He's in these rankings, too. We'll get to him when we get there. But Ladd McConkey, I expect to be the more productive wide receiver this year. And getting Tyler Conklin, getting Keenan Allen to help draw that attention away a little bit. Problem is, they all kind of play the same area. So Herbert's going to have a lot of options. Herbert's a stud, we know that. But McConkey can't be a true number one for me. He's a number 2 wide receiver, and that's all there is to it. Number 15, Terry McLaurin. Now, he's dropped. I had him up, I think, at 12 before, maybe 14. He's definitely dropped a few spots, I believe. But McLaurin, is he going to get traded? They brought him off the PUP list last week so he can start getting in shape. Is he just going to play out his contract with the Commanders? These are all things we have to go through. If he gets traded, it's possible he moves down. But with Debo there now, McLaurin's got, like I said, drawing attention away. Even though I don't think Debo's the better receiver than Terry McLaurin, I do think Debo is still a threat that defenses have to worry about. And that only helps Terry McLaurin. And I want pieces of that Washington offense. I want Jaden Daniels number 1 wide receiver. If Terry McLaurin's still there here when my home league draft comes up in a week, I'm going to be picking Terry McLaurin right where I got him. If he gets traded in the next few days, then that's going to change. But right now I got McLaurin at 15 because I expect him to be able to do exactly what he did last year. The touchdowns, the yards, the catches, all that. I don't see a huge regression from McLaurin like everybody else is predicting. I think Terry McLaurin is still the number 1 wide receiver. I think Debo is going to help the offense and not take away from McLaurin. Number 16, Devontae Adams. Just talked about him with the Puka thing. Stafford's back. If Stafford's healthy, Devontae Adams goes back up to 13 where I had him. Puka goes back to 11 where I had him. But I do believe Adams is still a damn good receiver. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. I do believe that's going to take some opportunities away. Cooper Kupp wasn't the threat to Puka Nacua that Devontae Adams is. That's why I got these guys ranked right here very similar, because I believe that either one could be the number 1 wide receiver for the Rams, but they're both going to have a lot of success as long as Stafford's healthy. Number 17, this guy's moved up by eight spots for me. I think I had him in the mid-20s before. But Calvin Ridley, man, I just want to move him up higher, but I can't. I got to temper expectations. But he is the number 1 wide receiver in Tennessee. Not a lot of threats around him. And Cam Ward can wing that thing, man. Do I think the Titans are going to have a ton of success win-loss records? No. Do I think the Titans are going to have a lot of success passing the ball and playing catch-up because their defense couldn't stop the offense they're playing against? Now they got to try to catch up in the second half of the game. They're throwing a lot instead of running as much. Calvin Ridley is going to be that guy catching the ball on the other end. And last year, I think he had over 1,000 yards that if the passes would have been better from Levis or Rudolph, he'd have had another 1,000 yards. Now, we don't expect people to have 2,000 yards receiving as much as we want to say that. Like Calvin set the record, I think it was 1,967 yards or something like that Calvin Johnson had. Tyreek Hill's tried to get it. Chase has tried to get it. Players have tried to get it and can't reach it. It's hard, guys. I don't care who you are. 2,000 yards is tough. But if Calvin really can hit 1,400 yards, he's going to be a value where you get him in some of these later rounds. People are drafting him 6th to 8th round, and he's probably a 4th to 5th round pick. So consider those things when you're drafting. Maybe you can get him in the 6th, get a steal, and he could be a number 1 wide receiver for you guys. Now, maybe that's because you went running back heavy or picked the tight end quarterback earlier than expected. Calvin Ridley can still be a number 1 wide receiver for you. Don't fool yourself. He's not on the same level as Jamar Chase, but he's definitely a talented fucking receiver. Don't forget what he did in Atlanta before everything happened with the gambling and all that. Don't forget how talented Calvin Ridley is when you're drafting this year. And rounding out tier 4, Mr. 1,000 yards, Mike Evans for the Buccaneers. Mike Evans, we know the history. He's got 1,000 yards every year. Barely passed it last year. Originally, when I did my first wide receiver rankings, I said I don't know if he'd hit 1,000 yards this year, but that was expectations with Godwin playing, Igbuka playing, McMillan playing. Now, Godwin might not start the season. McMillan's in concussion protocol after a hard fall in a preseason game last week. Mike Evans and Igbuka are the 1-2 there, and Mike Evans is still a target that Baker Mayfield knows how to get the ball to. So I'm expecting another 1,050, 1,100 yards for Mike Evans this year with everything going on in Tampa. Moving on to tier 5 here, guys. Tier 5 is the risky but could pay off. This is our tier right here. Tyreek Hill, number 19 for the Miami Dolphins. We know what Tyreek has been. The question is he still that? You get him as the 19th best receiver, and he is, you're probably going to win your league. You get him as the 19th receiver, and he's 70% of what he used to be. You didn't overpay. You still got a number 2 receiver. So that's how I look at Tyreek Hill here. Tetairoa McMillan, I believe he's going to be the number one in Carolina. I believe Bryce Young's going to be able to get him the ball on a good amount of occasions. And he's going to jump up as that number one for Carolina. Now, you probably don't have to pay this price. You can probably get him instead of like the 6th round, you can get him in the 8th round, maybe the 7th, and have a true number one wide receiver for a team that needs a true wide receiver, true wide receiver one. If that's the case, you're going to be happy with Tetairoa McMillan. I think he's going to, if you could get him as your 3rd receiver, though, maybe even your 4th, it's a steal, man. Maybe you went wide receiver heavy and he's your 4th receiver. You get to play a week or two and see exactly how that Carolina Panthers comes out before you decide you want to start starting them. But I like what McMillan is, like them coming into the draft, believe he's going to be a successful player in the NFL. Number 21, Jackson Smith-Njigba. I think he actually dropped a couple spots for me simply because there's a lot of questions in Seattle for me. Is Cooper Kupp still a threat enough to draw attention away and help Smith-Njigba? Is JSN a true number one? Like I said, I watched Juju Smith-Schuster look like a true number one when he was next to Antonio Brown. Then Antonio Brown left, and we found out he was not a true number one. I don't want to fall for that again. That's all there is to it. He is a risky player simply for the fact we've never seen him be a true number one. Even at Ohio State, he had 9 guys around him that had been drafted in the 1st round. Now he's here. Metcalf's gone. Lockett's gone. Can he be that number one guy? I think he's got the talent, but I got to see it, so I can't rank him higher than this. Number 22, talked about him with Amon-Ra, Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams is a freak speed athlete, man. And everything coming out of camp is he's developed his route running. He's developed his maturity a little bit. He's developed how serious he's taking the game. And that just means it is dangerous what he could do. Now, loss at OC, change over to Johnny Morton, loss of Ragnow at center, going to put a little more pressure on Goff. Can he get deep before he gets pressure in his face? These are all things. But that's why I like the route running information they've been putting out, that he's working on underneath stuff, crossing stuff. It's not just, hey, go catch a go ball. If that's the case, Jameson's going to be a steal at 22 here. I had him at 25. I've moved him up a couple more spots, partially because of him, partially because some other guys dropped down. But at the end of the day, this is why he's in this range. And the 5th guy in this range is number 23, Devontae Smith. If the Eagles do what they did last year, Devontae Smith isn't as valuable. If the Eagles have to pass more like I'm expecting, Devontae Smith is super valuable. Even with A.J. Brown or even with Dallas Goedert there, and usually it's Goedert that doesn't get the ball, but sometimes it's Devontae, sometimes it's A.J. Brown. With the 3 of those guys there and their pass amount, how many passes they make a game with Jalen Hurts, it kind of limits the receiving options. So I can't rank Devontae Smith, even though I drafted this guy the first 2 years in the league. Traded him one of the years before the season even started because I wanted a guy that my brother drafted. But at the end of the day, I love Devontae Smith as a player. I just need the Eagles to pass more, which is what I'm expecting. That's why he's up here at 23. Moving into Tier 6. Tier 6. Players that could take that step or that are already established number ones, but not like huge number ones. Starting with number 24 here, Courtland Sutton. Courtland Sutton's the number one for the Denver Broncos. But he's not a dominant number one like you want from it. You know what I mean? He's not Michael Pittman, who's a number one by default, but he is a number one who is a damn good player. You've seen the success he's had throughout his career. I expect him to be a steady player that gets 85 to 95 catches, 1,000, 1,100 yards, 10 touchdowns. That's what I want from Courtland Sutton this year. I got him as a number 3 wide receiver in a 10-team league because if you can get that from your number 3 receiver, you're going to be real damn happy, especially if you drafted him later in the 5th, 6th round, 7th round. But 25 here, George Pickens got traded to the Cowboys from the Steelers this offseason. They gave him the bag, talked about him with CeeDee Lamb. I expect big things out of George Pickens this year, simply because I never liked George Pickens as a number 1. I would love him as a number 2. If I can get him this year now, I'll be a hell of a lot happier. But Dak stays healthy. CeeDee Lamb drawing all the attention away. You've seen in preseason camp and practice highlights, this guy just catching passes down the sidelines, catching touchdowns all the time. I expect that to roll into the regular season. Don't know how many wins the Dallas are going to have, but I do know that passing game is going to be productive. So, number 26, the rookie Emeka Egbuka. Talked about it just a minute ago with Mike Evans. Godwin's not starting the season. McMillan's got a concussion. All it says to me is Egbuka is number 2 wide receiver there, and Egbuka is the most pro-ready wide receiver coming into the draft this year. Draft Egbuka with confidence for the Bucs. Number 27, Marvin Harrison Jr. Now, he's the only guy, true number 1 wide receiver there. But he has to take that next step. Put on 80 pounds of muscle, apparently, based off photos, and he's trying to be more physical. But it comes down to the Cardinals' offense, man. If they only have him running deep balls, they're not using Marvin Harrison how he should be used. That's just all there is to it. And if that continues, you can't draft him higher than this. You take him as a number 3 wide receiver, and you hope that he takes that next step. But I'm not going to advise you guys to take that he's taking that next step. I need to see the offense design plays for him to take that next step. Not just, hey, go deep so it helps James Conner and Trey McBride underneath. No. Marvin Harrison, I need you to be running posts and slants and curls and hooks and all the different routes to get you in position to use your talents fully. And until the OC can do that in Arizona, I can't rank him any higher than this. Number 28, last year's rookie, rough start to the season after getting shot, Ricky Pearsall for the San Francisco 49ers. The good news for Pearsall this year is everybody else is hurt this year. Ayuk's not starting the season. He'll be on the pup. Juwan Jennings is dealing with an injury right now. A couple other guys are gone. They just traded for Sky Moore from the Chiefs, who hasn't done shit in 4 years or 3 years, whatever it's been. So Ricky Pearsall is their number 1 wide receiver right now. And I'm all in on that because I liked him coming out of Florida last year. My buddy's a Niners fan. When he got drafted, he's like, who the fuck's this guy? I was like, I like this guy. This guy is the next Jordy Nelson, the next Eric Decker, one of those guys. And Ricky Pearsall should have tons of success this year. Number 29, this is controversy to some of y'all. That's Xavier Worthy. Some of you guys got Rashee Rice in the second round, even with the upcoming suspension at the end of September there. I'm going to take Xavier Worthy, who snapped at the end of the season, snapped in the playoffs, and is going to be playing all season, barring health. I'll take that guy over the guy that I got to worry about being suspended for 4 to 6 to 8 to 10 the rest of the season. I don't know how long Rice is getting suspended. The NFL wanted to give him 10 games. I'm going to take Worthy and be happy that I got Patrick Mahomes number 1 wide receiver this year. And number 30, Jalen Waddle, Miami Dolphins. Jalen Waddle could pass Tyreek Hill as the number 1 this year. But based off the season Jalen Waddle had this last year with the injuries to Tua, all the things, all the factors around him, I can't rank him any higher than this. Into the third tier of receivers, you get him as your last number 3. You'll be happy with Jalen Waddle if he's healthy and that Tua is healthy all season. Because Tua loves throwing the ball to Jalen Waddle. Tyreek's got their whole Tyreek's Tyreek, man. That's just all there is to it. For all I know, Tyreek can pull an A-B and run off the field in the middle of the game. He's just sick of not getting the ball. Jalen Waddle's still there. Jalen Waddle has had a successful season. He's had 1,000-yard season, 90-catch season, I believe it was. Maybe it was 85 or something like that. But Jalen Waddle's a super talented receiver. He gets overshadowed because he came into the same draft as Jamar Chase, I believe it was. Or maybe he was the next year with Kyle Pitts. I forget which one. But just at the end of the day, man, Jalen Waddle's a fucking good receiver. And you'll be happy to have him on your team if he's healthy. Tier 7. Talk about another guy if he's healthy. Chris Olave. Chris Olave, we know about his concussion history. Gets a new quarterback in Tyler Shuck or Spencer Rattler after Derek Carr retired. New head coach, Kellen Moore, who we know loves to pass the ball. We know loves to wing it around. His time as OC in Dallas, the Chargers, and Philly shows that. Last year, he called a hell of a game plan to where he didn't have to pass a lot. Shows that he could use the run game. But with Kamara being the only real running back that's a threat there, like I thought they were a candidate to trade for Brian Robinson simply because they would have given that power back that the Saints were known for, to have the Reggie Bush and Deuce McAllister, Mark Ingrams, and then the Kamaras and his guy to go with them. But at the end of the day, Chris Olave still was the 10th overall pick in the draft, 11th overall pick in the NFL draft. We've seen what he can do when healthy. He's successful. So getting him as a number 4 receiver when you were paying as a number 2 receiver the last couple of years, should be real happy about that. Number 32, Zay Flowers. Kind of picked this spot because this is how I feel about Zay Flowers. He's not a true number 1. He's a great number 2. But he is the number 1 in Baltimore. Unless Bateman takes over that spot, which I don't see happening, I think Zay Flowers is still the number 1 wide receiver. I think Mark Andrews is still the number 1 option. So that puts Zay Flowers down here at 32, where, yeah, he's the number 1, but I would much rather love him as a number 2 on my NFL offense. And as a number 4 receiver in fantasy, you can't be mad about Zay Flowers. He's going to do what he does, man. Number 33, Deebo Samuel. I got him down here, even though I thought about putting him in the next tier up because I'm excited about what Deebo could do. And if McLaurin gets traded, Deebo's going to shoot up about 10, 12 spots. No problems, no questions asked. Simply for the fact that he'll be the number one by default. And Debo's a beast. We know what Debo is as a physical, gifted, talented receiver. But as a number two, he's even better, man, in my mind. They can use him on those end around. They can use him on screens. They can use him across the middle. And he's a physical specimen that can take the beating more times than not, even though he's had an injury history. I like in this new offense with Jaden Daniels, with what they're doing with Kingsbury there, I think he's going to be a very successful receiver there. You get him as a number 4, he probably finishes as a high number 3. Number 34, Jerry Jeudy for the Cleveland Browns. Jerry Jeudy would be 20 spots below this if anybody besides Joe Flacco was starting. But Joe Flacco could wing the damn ball still. I was glad Cleveland brought him back. I don't know how many games they're going to win, but I do believe Jerry Jeudy's at number 1, and Joe Flacco can get him the ball. That's why he's here. Number 35, DJ Moore for the Chicago Bears. DJ Moore is kind of in a transition period. He's got a new offense, new coach. They drafted Burden. They drafted Loveland. They still have Rome Odunze. They still have Cole Kmet. All the Bears' pass catchers are down a little bit because they have so many weapons in the offense. And that doesn't count DeAndre Swift coming out the backfield. It also doesn't account for the fact that Caleb Williams still has to prove some things to me before I'm confident he can be a starting quarterback in the NFL, and a good one at that. But DJ Moore is the number 1 receiver there until further notice. So I got him here. If you can get him as your 4th receiver, he's got to go for 1,000, no problem. He's got it. They can use his gadget player at times too. And I believe next year Luther Burden will take over. Maybe if they will lose a bunch of games this year, that happens a little bit sooner this year. But I don't think Luther Burden's a threat to take over DJ Moore right now. That's why I got DJ Moore here. Still expect him to be that number 1. Maybe it's 80 catches for 950, 1,000 yards. Maybe it's 75 for 850. But maybe it's 80 for 1,200. And that's what you're hoping for. 80 for 1,200 and 10 touchdowns because Caleb Williams gets shit together. Ben Johnson draws up the right plays, and DJ Moore is used properly. But DJ Moore has never been a true number 1 to me. He's one of those guys, just like Zay Flowers, I would much rather have as a number 2. That's why these guys are in this tier 7. 36, Stephon Diggs. We know what he was in Houston last year before he got hurt. Now he's with the Patriots. A lot of hype around Drake May. If I have more confidence in Drake May to be an efficient passer all the time, Diggs will probably be up another 8-10 spots. But Diggs can finish as a number 3 and possibly as a late number 2 receiver, barring what happens with the rest of these guys and how well he does. But you get him as a number 4 receiver. If he gets banged up, oh well, I just cut him and start the other guy that I'm excited about that I drafted as my 5th receiver. Or you get him and he's fucking awesome. And he gets 90 catches for 1,100 yards and 9 touchdowns. And you're really excited about that. That's what I'm expecting from Diggs this year. I expect Diggs to get back to doing Diggs things. Yeah, he might have lost a little bit. And yeah, the Patriots are going to have their games where they're just not clicking on offense. But Diggs is still going to be that number 1 right now. He's their number 1 wide receiver for the rest of the season in my mind. I don't think Kyle Williams can overtake him. I don't think Demario Douglas can overtake him. I don't think anybody on that roster can overtake Stephon Diggs' talent. And that's all there is to it. Number 37, another Bear here right after DJ Moore and Diggs is Rome Odunze. Because I believe Rome Odunze could end up being the number 1 by the end of the season for them. I don't know if that's how they're going to draw it up. I think that Rome Odunze is going to catch a lot of passes this year because I believe him and DJ Moore are going to be the 1-2 option there. I don't think Burden's taking over either of their spots. And with the Cole Kmets and Colston Lovelands running underneath, these 2 guys are going to be need to use on the outside. So Rome Odunze, DJ Moore, both guys I'm looking as number 4 receivers here with the potential of being much better than that, but I'm not willing to risk it on them. Tier 8, number 38, Jaden Higgins, the rookie from the Houston Texans. Jaden Higgins reminds me a little bit of Mike Evans, man. And you put him on the outside with Nico on the other side, he's going to have a lot of free one-on-ones that he can definitely win in jump ball situations or just outrunning people. That's just all there is to it. So Jaden Higgins is a guy you should be looking at the end as a number 4 receiver that could definitely finish much higher than that if all goes well for Houston, or if something happens to Nico. Like, these are 2 options that could happen that just improves Jaden Higgins' value. But right now I got him at 38 simply for the fact, love the kid. He's a number 2 on Houston, though, so I can't put him up any higher than that. Number 39, Jacoby Myers. Jacoby Myers is the ultimate professional in my mind. Guy goes out, does his job, never gets the credit for how good he is. He's not a dominator by any means, but he is Mr. Consistent to me And for the Las Vegas Raiders this year, getting Geno Smith, Jacoby Myers could definitely finish higher than this. Last year, I think he finished as like a top 28 wide receiver in most leagues, top 30 wide receiver in most leagues. You're getting him here at 39 because people don't think about Jacoby Myers like that. You're getting a steal every time you get Jacoby Myers outside the top 25 to 30 players, wide receivers. Jacoby Myers is a steal. You're going to get him in the 9th, 10th round, and you're going to be happy as hell that you got a starting wide receiver that you could throw in your lineup at any week you want and feel confident that he's going to go get you 10, 11, 13 points. Man, no, maybe he's never going to have those 30-point blow-ups probably, but he could definitely get you 10 to 12 on a regular basis as your number 4 wide receiver in a fantasy or flex guy, whatever. And you just stick him in there, man. You just leave him alone. Just let him go do his job. Number 40, another guy that does his job, Keenan Allen. We talked about him earlier with Ladd McConkey. Love that he's back with the Chargers. Love that he's back with Herbert. And he's a guy that you don't have to draft this high because right now his ADP is in the bag because he wasn't on a team. I mean, it is at the bottom of the barrel right now. It's starting to go up a little bit, but I'm getting Keenan Allen late as shit in mock drafts and a couple other drafts that I've already done because nobody wants Keenan Allen when he wasn't on a team and thought maybe his career is over. Now he's back with the Chargers, and I'm excited as hell about Keenan Allen being back with the Chargers. Him and Ladd McConkey and Tyler Conklin are the top receiving options for that. Keenan Allen's still the best route runner out of all of those. Ladd McConkey's probably a little bit faster than him these days, but I still have confidence that Keenan Allen will show up and do his damn job. You go get 75 for 900 yards and 8 touchdowns from Keenan Allen as your number 3, number 4 wide receiver that you drafted late because he went running back, a quarterback, a tight end heavy earlier. You're not going to be sad you got Keenan Allen on your team. Number 41, Matthew Golden, rookie for the Green Bay Packers. This guy would probably be a little bit lower, but he's kind of like one of those situations where everybody else around him is hurt. Dobbs isn't anything special. He's just a guy he's one of those consistent guys like Myers, but not as consistent. He's just a pro that shows up, does his job, but he doesn't always get the ball. Matthew Golden is the fastest guy on that team right now. I can tell you that much, which is going to help Josh Jacobs and him. But Matthew Golden, the only person he's competing with targets for right now is Romeo Doubs. Jaden Reed's banged up. Dontavian Wicks is banged up. Bo Melton's playing defense. Christian Watson might make it back this year. It sounded a little more positive than it was 2-3 months ago. But even if he is, it's probably not till week 6, week 8, week 10. Who knows when Watson's coming back, if he makes it back at all. That makes me value Matthew Golden much more. Matthew Golden has now moved up my board simply for the fact of who the hell else is getting the ball? They have to throw it to him if they want to have success besides Tucker Kraft. They got to have bodies out there on the field. Matthew Golden's going to be out there on the field. He's a first-round pick, 22, 23, whatever it was overall. At the end of the day, Matthew Golden's going to have success if the Green Bay wants to have success. In that situation, I'm willing to draft him now. 42, Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp is a guy that we know what Cooper Kupp is. He just lost his step. We saw it last year, and he started to deal with injuries as he gets older. I think he can help that Seattle offense. I think he can help Sam Darnold, but I'm not counting on big things like we used to from Cooper Kupp. I'm counting on Cooper Kupp being a bench guy for me that I can start on bye week, start when he's got a good matchup or something, but not something I'm counting on him having a shit ton of success. Just a guy that I know I can still count on to go do his job. Number 43, the rookie Travis Hunter. Now, some people are like, I can't believe you got Hunter this low. Some other people are like, man, I can't believe you got Hunter this high. And that's the thing with Hunter. You don't know exactly where to rank him. For right now, I got Travis Hunter right here for the simple fact of I think he's going to be on the field probably 60 to 80% of the time for offense. And he's going to end up become more of an offensive player over the course of the season, barring injuries to the defense. And not as much on defense. But to start the season, they're going to try and play him both ways. And if that's the situation, he can't be on the field all the time, which makes Parker Washington a little more valuable. Definitely doesn't hurt Brian Thomas Jr. But Travis Hunter's still going to get opportunities. They didn't draft him at number 2 overall to not use him. Number 44, and the final guy in Tier 8, Marvin Mims. Marvin Mims is a guy, end of the season last year, I was really excited about. Picked him up, got a couple touchdowns from him, tried to help me. But he's still a guy that's a big play guy. He's got to develop more of his routes. He's got to develop more of that offensive scheme plan and got to gain more trust of Bo Nix and Sean Payton. if he does that, which I'm expecting him to take that step this year to be that number 2 for Denver, especially after this traded Devon Vele. They got the rookie, Pat Bryant, but I think he's going to be more of a big slot, not going to be that number 2 on the field all the time. I think Mims and Cortland Sutton are the 2 guys on the field all the time. Now, Mims is going to get subbed out for Troy Franklin because they're both fast speed guys. But Mims has already shown the potential of, look, you throw it to me, you can count on me. Troy Franklin's still trying to get that. Mims is the guy that has already proved towards the end of last year. And throughout last year, really, he had a handful of games where it's like, yeah, you throw the ball to this guy deep, he's going to catch that shit. But I feel like he's at that same as J-Mo, not the same talent level, but the same progression level in their career where it's like, I need to be more than just a deep ball guy. And if Mims could take that next step, I'm expecting huge things out of Denver this year, guys. Expecting huge things out of that offense with Harvey and Ingram and Mims and Sutton and Bo Nix, the staple back. Definitely expecting a lot out of Denver offense. I think that only helps Marvin Mims' chances. Tier 9, number 45, Rashid Shaheed. Some people aren't even thinking about this guy. But if you go watch tape on Rashid Shaheed before he got injured last year, Shuck can throw the ball deep. So I don't think you should be concerned about that issue. Kellen Moore knows how to dial up plays. And with a talent like Rashid Shaheed, I'm expecting screens. I'm expecting crossers. I'm expecting deep balls because that's what he could be successful at. And if Shaheed and the offense could have any kind of consistency, Olave, Shaheed, Juwan Johnson, Alvin Kamara, all those guys are going to be valued way more than you pay for them. Shaheed should be a number 3 receiver if they had a quarterback that everybody counted on. Olave would be a number 2 receiver drafted. He'd be in the teens probably like he was the last 2 years if everybody had confidence in that quarterback. The difference between me and everybody else is I have confidence in Tyler Shuck to be able to run an offense, to be able to get the ball out. Do I know how much success they're going to have this year? No, I think he's going to have his bumps like most rookies do. I think it's going to take a little bit of time. But at the end of the day, man, Tyler Shuck is a guy that reminds me a lot of Jared Goff. Now, he's an underdeveloped Jared Goff, mainly because he didn't have as many games. He dealt with injuries in college. Broke his clavicle twice, broke his leg once, changed schools twice, ended up in Louisville last year, had a decent season, nothing like statistically blowing you out of the water. But everything I see out of this guy is he can grow into something with Tyler Shuck. And Tyler Shuck getting the ball out to Rashid Shaheed and Chris Olave is only going to help his cause to having success with that offense. Now, if Radler ends up being the quarterback, I would drop Shaheed down 10 spots. I'm not a big Radler guy. I know 5 years ago he was projected to be number 1 overall pick when he came out of college. Yeah, and then he sucked, and then he transferred schools, and then he had a little more success. He ended up getting drafted late. Ended up with the Saints here. Played a little bit last year. I don't know what you guys are seeing, but I ain't excited about it. So I'm much more confident Tyler Shuck's the starter for the majority of games for the Saints this season. That's why I got Rashid Shaheed here and why I got Chris Olave where I got him. Number 46, we talked about a little ago with Pearsall, Juwan Jennings. Well, Jennings is hurt. I don't think he's going to be out all season. And Juwan Jennings you've seen it last year. He's got some freakish talent at times, man. And if it's him and Pearsall, they're going to be the main guys with Kittle and McCaffrey coming out the backfield if he stays healthy. Maybe Jennings doesn't have as much success as he did last year, but still a guy that I'm going to take a shot on as fifth receiver here and hope that he gets healthy and that he's playing like he was last year before everything happened with the Niners. But definitely a guy that I'm willing to take a chance on with Juwan Jennings. Number 47, another guy like that, Kyle Williams. Talked about earlier with Diggs. He's the rookie for the Patriots. Go watch this tape, man. I think it was Oregon State he was at. Kyle Williams got talent. Kyle Williams is fast as shit, but he's more importantly, he's a pretty damn good receiver. He's got some routes that he's worked on that he can get open on. If he takes that step and Drake May takes that step, it's going to be a guy that's not getting drafted at 46 as the 47th best wide receiver next year. He's going to get drafted a lot higher. Number 48, Jordan Addison. Addison would be 10 to 12 spots higher than this easy if he didn't have a 3-game suspension to start the season. Now, I've told you, if a guy's out more than 4 weeks, I don't even want him on my team. 3 weeks, fully healthy, it's a suspension. It's not an injury. So he's only just gone because he got suspended for his off-field activity. He comes back in week 4. He's JJ's number 2. And you hope McCarthy has taken that step to prove that he is the starter, that he can have success, and that Jefferson I'm never going to worry about other than health issues. But Addison, can definitely have success as that number 2 with Jefferson on the other side, kind of like the George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb thing. Addison's a damn good receiver, guys. Addison was drafted, I think, as a second round, maybe a third round pick, but got talent. And he's shown that on the field already. I think he's had 10 touchdowns his first 2 years. If he gets more catches and keep up even an 8 touchdown pace, Jordan Addison is going to be a steal this late, man. Right behind him, number 49, Michael Pittman. Number 49, Michael Pittman of your Indianapolis Colts. Now, full disclosure, I've never been a Pittman guy. I think he's a number 2. He's kind of like that Sutton guy, where he's a big body guy, but not dominant. He doesn't have the top end speed. He doesn't have that, and he's got tons of quarterback issues. Now, Daniel Jones has been named a starter. I don't even know if Anthony Richards is on his team by the start of the season here in a week and a half. They might trade him. But we've seen what Daniel Jones is. Yeah, he can wing a deep ball here and there, but that's going to be the Alec Pierces, the Donnie Mitchells. The Josh Downs is underneath guy. Michael Pittman's kind of like that midfield guy. I don't have confidence at all to get Daniel Jones to get him the ball. That's why he's down here. And I'm not a big Michael Pittman guy. I almost want to drop him lower than this. Now, Pittman still had success, so I can't just discount that. But if it's me, I'm not drafting Michael Pittman this year. I'm just trying to rank him where his talent should be instead of how I feel about him personally. My personal thing is I don't want Michael Pittman on my team, but if I end up getting him on my team as my 5th receiver here into the number 5s, I'm going to be okay with that. I am not drafting him as a number 3, number 2 receiver at all, ever. So just keep that in mind when you're drafting Michael Pittman. Number 50, talked about him a little bit ago, Jayden Reed for the Green Bay Packers. Jayden Reed's probably the most talented player at the receiver position that the Packers have. He's kind of like a Debo guy, though. He's not like a number 1 wide receiver. He's that gadget guy that they use on stuff. If he gets healthy, which we hope he does, and they use him more than he did last year, go figure on that, LaFleur. What the hell was that? Jayden Reed's a special talent. He's got gifts that most receivers don't. And to get him here at 50, I know he's banged up right now. Look into that before you draft him. See how long he's actually going to be out. I'm sure we'll get some more updates in the next week. But Jayden Reed has to be healthy for me to draft him, or have a good outlook on when he's going to be back, more importantly, for me to draft him here. But Jayden Reed's a super good, talented player. So, number 51, another guy with injury issue, Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk's talent says he's in the 20s. Brandon Ayuk's situation, knowing that he might not be back till week 6, week 10, that's the worst report you heard. Got him down here in the 50s as a number 6 wide receiver, where most leagues won't even have this guy drafted. If you draft him, you got IR spot, great. No problem. Put him on IR. I have no problem moving him up 10 spots if that's the case. My home league doesn't have IR spots. That's why he's ranked here, because I'm not drafting an injured guy that's going to be out 6 to 10 weeks and just holding him for that long. That's a wasted roster spot to deal with bye weeks, to deal with injuries, to deal with all that stuff. Guy's not doing what you expected when you drafted him earlier. Guy's not, or you make a trade or whatever. You know what I mean? But if you don't have an IR spot, do not draft Brandon Ayuk. That's my advice to you. Moving into tier 10. Number 52, Rashad Bateman. Talked about him with Zay Flowers. Could he overtake him? He was a first-round pick, man. He got drafted in the 20s of the first round by Baltimore. Just never took that step, man. Now, last year he was much more consistent. What you want to see, dealt with injuries his first couple years. If he could take that step this year and become that number 1 over Zay Flowers, then Zay Flowers is in a perfect position, and Bateman has proven that he was worth a first-round pick. That's what you want out of these guys. Now, they also signed DeAndre Hopkins, which you see him down here at 57. I'm not a big Hopkins guy anymore. I loved what DeAndre Hopkins was. He's a Hall of Famer in my mind. He's not the guy he used to be. He's going to be a guy that gets used part-time for these guys, and it's more about for the playoffs for them probably. Hey, we need that vet in the playoffs that we can count on. If Hopkins makes it that far and shows that he's still got a little bit, I'll be much happier. But I'm not drafting him like that. I'm drafting him where I value him, which is I think he's taking a step back, and I don't know if he can pass Bateman or Flowers on the Ravens roster. So how the hell can I put him up above a lot of other people? Doesn't make sense to me. Number 58. This is another one of those Brandon Ayuk situations. Chris Godwin. The good news about Chris Godwin is they just took him off the PUP. Bad news is they might put him on IR after week 1, because then if you put him on IR before week 1, he's out for the season. If you put him on IR after week 1, it's only 3 weeks and then you can bring it back. I think that's a high possibility, but they said they took him off the PUP list because they want to start getting him in shape. If that's the case, that's a much better diagnosis than we have heard, that he could be out for the first 4 weeks and stuff. So I got Godwin here. Again, if you have an IR spot, move Godwin up. That's fine with me. We don't have IR spots in my home league. I can't draft him any higher than this. Number 59, the rookie Isaac Tesla, the rookie for the Lions. You see in the preseason, he's already caught a couple touchdowns. He catches touchdowns in practice. Dan Campbell loves him. Brad Holmes loves him. We need a number 3. As much as a big a fan as I am of Tim Patrick, sounds like he hasn't had a very good camp this year. If Tesla passes him and is in that offense, do I think you should draft Tesla real high? No, I don't. Because J-Mo and Amon-Ra and Laporta and Gibbs and Montgomery, all these guys are still here. That makes him the 6th option at best. If he could develop over the course of the season, he's probably a guy you end up picking up in the middle of the season and starting the second half of the season as a 4th receiver or flex guy that helps you win some games. But right now, I can't advise you to take Tesla as like I can count on this guy right now, simply for the fact that I don't think you can. I think he's the 6th option on his team. Another one of those situations. You're the 6th option on the team. I can't trust you. Number 60, Charles Tillman. Cedric Tillman, the wide receiver for the Browns. This goes back to the Joe Flacco thing. I almost want to move this guy up 8, 9, 10 spots. Because if Joe Flacco starts more than 7, 8 games and ends up starting the whole season because the Browns are winning, Tillman's going to be part of that. And Njoku, going to be part of that. Judy, going to be part of that. So Tillman is a guy to take a chance on, man. As a bench player, flex player, take a chance on him. If he's not that guy the first couple weeks, fucking cut him. Who cares? If he is, you got to steal late as hell. Moving into tier 11, and our final tier, guys, is number 61. We got Pat Bryant, the rookie from the Denver Broncos. This is another one of those guys, going to be the 4th, 5th, 6th option on his team. So I can't really rank him any higher. He's going to be one of those guys like Tesla you pick up later in the season because something happened or he showed out. Sean Payton loves this guy. He calls him a Mike Thomas type player, big slot. If that's the case and he's on the field all the time, they're running a lot of 11 personnel with only Ingram as the only tight end. Maybe Pat Bryant is more valuable than I think he is. But at the end of the day, I can't advise you to draft him like that. He's another one of those guys you'll probably pick up after a few weeks if he's doing something. Not advising you to draft him. But once you know where I got him ranked, because I do think he has potential. Number 62, another one of those guys, Xavier Legette. He's probably a guy you pick up, start for a bye week, or start for an injured guy, drop him after that. Number 63, Trey Harris, the rookie for the Chargers. He was higher than this until Keenan Allen signed, because I believed he was going to be that number 2, but they felt like he was being a little inconsistent to start and dealing with some drops and stuff. You don't want that with Quentin Johnson already out of the team. You got everybody dropping a damn ball, playing hot potato. But Trey Harris is a big monster that, if playing, I'm happy with him. He's a guy that maybe Keenan Allen gets banged up or Ladd gets banged up. Trey Harris is that guy you want to pick up right away. 64, Darnell Mooney. Mooney would have been in the late 30s or mid to mid 40s range. Right now he's dealing with injury, and we don't have a lot of good idea when he's coming back. You got an IR spot, draft Mooney, put him in IR as soon as the season starts. If you don't, I can't advise you to draft Mooney any earlier than this because he's dealing with an injury coming into the season. I love what Atlanta can do, but now they got 2 tackles that are banged up. Just a lot going on with Atlanta, and Mooney being injured already. Can't advise you to draft him any higher than this. Number 65, Jalen Naylor. This is a guy you could draft to start the season and knowing that after 3 weeks he's gone. And Jalen Naylor is the 3rd receiver for the Vikings, and probably the 4th if you count Hockenson as the 3rd or 2nd or 3rd. But with Jordan Addison being suspended the first 3 games, Jalen Naylor is one of those guys. Maybe you draft Addison and Naylor. You to put Addison on IR or put him on your bench while he's suspended, and you start Naylor those 3 games. Then you drop Naylor and put Addison in. So that's a strategic move you could do if you're thinking about that. Number 66, mentioned him earlier, Parker Washington. I think Parker Washington is going to have some success this year, not as a starting wide receiver for you or flex guy, but as a bench guy that you could put in, especially with Travis Hunter going to be playing both ways. Like I said, it's going to take him off the field, and Parker Washington is going to be that guy back on the field. Number 67, Romeo Doubs. Pro's pro, not a dominant fantasy player. Number 68, a little excited about this guy. Alec Ayomanor, the rookie for the Tennessee Titans. This guy's a route monster, man. I'm really excited about how well he runs routes, and is probably going to be the number 2 in Tennessee to Calvin Ridley. Tyler Lockett's there. Not really excited about an old Tyler Lockett. Elike Manor, guy you draft, you put him on the bench, you wait 3-4 weeks, see what happens. And he's probably starting for you for the second half of the season if he takes that step I'm expecting, and Cam Ward develops that chemistry with him. They got Restrepo there, who's Cam Ward's buddy, but I don't even know if he's going to make the team, is what it sounds like right now. I'm guessing he does. Mainly as like a special teams guy. But Elike Manor is the rookie you want in Tennessee. Number 69, Ty Felton. I got him here. He's the rookie. I forgot to put the R next to him, but he's the rookie for the Vikings that they drafted. Partially because they knew Addison was going to get suspended. Partially because I don't think Naylor's anything special. I think he's just that next guy in line. Felton could overtake him. So this might be the guy you want to start the first 3 weeks. But I think Naylor's going to be the guy simply for the fact of he's the guy that they already know and can trust. Felton's probably overtaking that third spot if he can throughout the season. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe Naylor holds him off, and you don't even have Felton on your team. But he's just a guy I want you to be looking out for as the season progresses. And our final guy for the Tier 11 and for our wide receiver rankings is number 70, Arian Smith for the New York Jets, the rookie. They have Josh Reynolds there. Big fan of the Praying Mantis, being when he was with Detroit. I liked him when he was with the Rams and with the Titans. I'm just a Josh Reynolds fan. Think he's a guy for a football team you love to have. For fantasy, not as valuable. But Arian Smith could be valuable because Justin Fields knows how to throw the ball deep. Arian Smith has got that speed to get deep. Now, he's got to show that. Wouldn't advise drafted him. More of a guy to keep an eye on, put that little marker on there, my watch list, and see what he does those first week or two. If he could be that D-ball guy for the Jets on that play action with Breece Hall and Braylon Allen, Arian Smith is going to have value all season long. If he can't take that step, then you just worry about getting Garrett Wilson. Don't worry about any Jets pass catchers, other than Mason Taylor maybe. So at the end of the day, guys, that's the top 70. Tier 11 tiers for you, really 12 if you count tier 1.5. But like I said, I'm trying to help you guys win. Hope this helps you guys out. If you disagree or you agree, let me know. Make a comment. Tell me I suck. Tell me I'm great. Whatever you want. Other than that, we're going to get out of here. Hope everybody's having a good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever time you're watching. Till next time, I'm out. First down punts.